Hey love, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you are returning and you have yet to hit that subscribe button, make sure you do that right now. Go and scroll down into the comment section below as well. You have 1 week left to join me for the first ever Feminine First workshop. This is going to be such an amazing event where we are bringing women together to connect over the topic of overworking, being too strongly in our masculine energy, and really coming together to shift our focus into how can we lead with the feminine first. And I'm going to be sharing the very simple, this is how I like to teach all of my things, simple 3-step process to leading with the feminine first. Really quick in today's video, before we dive in, we're going to be talking about why life works in ebbs and flows and why you should too. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit of a personal anecdote story here as well. So make sure you stay tuned. But as I said before, you can get the links to joining the free upcoming workshop in the description below, as well as some other great ways that you can start going into this work deeper. There are 3 free gifts down there for you, and really accessible ways that you can go and explore working together. So let's dive in. Why does life work in ebbs and flows, and why should you as well? So I really love in my work, what I do a lot is look at the surroundings. How do other species, nature, animals move through life? And it's a really great practice because we are part of nature. We as human beings are part of these cycles and systems that are at play. And if you look at yourself, especially as a woman, you can see that you have your own systems and cycles. Men do as well. So if you are a male identifying person watching this, you have your own systems, specifically looking at your hormone cycles. But we as women have very clear monthly cycles. If we look at nature, nature also has very clear cycles. We have the seasonal cycles, so spring, summer, winter, fall. We have the cycles that happen throughout the day, so morning, midday, evening, midnight. We have the monthly moon cycles, so the waning moon, the waxing moon, the full moon, the new moon. And so all of these are cycles that we can look to for guidance. And the interesting thing about all of these cycles is that there are 4 phases to each of them. So I'm not going to go into the cycles right now. I have other videos on this, and I will make more videos on this in the future. So if this is really speaking to you and you're like, I want to know more about this, number one, definitely join the free upcoming workshop, because these are the topics that we talk about there. But also let me know in the comments, and I will make more content that is aligned with what you're looking for. Okay, so what does this have to do with ebbs and flows? Number one, what this shows us is that there are cycles at play, and that things, number one, are not random, but number two, have a system that repeats. And this is really important because when we know what the system looks like, we can see a pattern, and we can then use that pattern for our own structure, for our own organization, whether that's for productivity, for how you're showing up to work, for how you're resting, for how you feel like you need to be achieving things, how long it takes things to grow and be birthed, what you're creating. So it's really powerful to be able to look to this and see this as a baseline structure that you can guide yourself through. So I'm going to just focus on the seasons right now. Like I said, I talk a lot about this in the workshop. I'm also going to be talking a lot about this in my upcoming Rest for Success course. So if this is really speaking to you, I really recommend you go and check out both of those links below in the description. But when we talk about ebbs and flows, I'm just going to focus on the seasons because, like I said, they all connect. All of the examples that I gave connect, but I want to keep it really short and simple and sweet for you right now. So looking at the seasons, we have ebbs and flows as well, right? We have spring and summer, which are very much this active, outgoing, initiating, things are blooming, you're wanting to get back outside again, the sun's coming out, it's getting warmer. I'm talking about like the Western Hemisphere seasons here. And then as we come into fall and winter, things kind of start to get quiet. We get, it gets colder outside, and so we get cozier inside. And then winter comes and everything is kind of sleeping. And when we look at the animals, they're going into hibernation. So there's this ebb and flow to the cycle of the seasons. And the flow piece would be spring, summer. We're out there, we're being active, we want to engage, we want to be social, we want to show ourselves, we want to wear the cute like little sundresses. And then winter comes and we're like in the big sweaters, we want to be cozy, we maybe don't really want to be that social right now, we'd rather like curl up by the fire and read. Are you feeling me? Are you following with this? Let me know in the comments what you like to do in your favorite season. What's your favorite season and what do you like to do in that season? Just curious, have a little fun with this. So when we talk about the ebbs and flows, that's a really great example of an ebb and flow. And the thing about seasons is that they're pretty consistent. And we generally know that, around April, May, it's going to start to become spring, and around September, October, fall is going to start coming, and November is going to get cold. We have this sort of consistency that we are accustomed to. Now, when we talk about ebbs and flows in our own lives, and this is where we're circling back to, life works in ebbs and flows, and so should you. Your ebbs and flows are simply going to look a little bit different. But this is really the work that we're doing here, and the work that I'm talking about here is really about understanding, what does it mean for you specifically to be in an ebb versus to be in a flow? What does that feel like in your body? How can you recognize when you are in an ebb versus when you are in a flow? And how can you lean into that? So here's my little anecdotal story. I had about a 8-month-long ebb phase. And I'm going to be really honest with you. This is a super uncomfortable phase to be in for a lot of us, because we're so used to doing all the time, being in this masculine energy, that when we come into an ebb phase, it's really asking us to slow down. A lot of the times ebb phases are about resetting foundations, taking a step back from like the forward grind towards whatever you are doing, to refocus, to reimagine. It's really asking you to create space so that you can kind of redirect the route that you're going on. Most of us don't want to do this, right? Because it's uncomfortable to slow down. We feel like things are going to fall apart, and we want to keep going. It feels better for us to keep moving forward. And so my ebb phase lasted about 8 months. And while I was in it, there was a shift that happened. And the shift is really important. And this is how we lean into the ebb phase, because again, we're usually really good at flowing. And I want you to just think in your own life, yeah, when I'm I'm in the groove of things are flowing really well. I'm focused, I'm feeling motivated. That's flow. Most of us are really good at being in flow when things are flowing. So the practice here is coming into your ebb. And when I say life works in ebbs and flows, and so should you, really what that means is, how can we incorporate more of these ebbs, because we're not used to doing that. So what the shift is that happens here in the ebb is moving from I need to go, do, this masculine energy, and starting to incorporate the feminine energy, because that's really what you are in if you are in an ebb phase. And we can't really control the ebb phases. Okay, this is part of my little anecdotal story. Is I used to think that we had ebb and flows throughout the day. And a lot of times we do, but it's not always the case. And sometimes we won't even have the ebb and flows throughout the week or even throughout the month. We might have a full month where we're like full flow. I can tell you right now, that's where I'm at. I'm like, slowing down and resting is something that I really have to do in a different and intentional way right now, because my body is just full of energy, because I gave it this time in the ebb phase, in this rest phase, to really do the work there that was asking to be done there without trying to continue to push through. Okay. So you might have weeks where you're like, go. I'm feeling so good and energized by moving. And then you might have weeks or days or sometimes even months where you're like, no, like, where's the flow? Where's the motivation? And that's when you want to start leaning into the ebb. Okay. That's when you want to make space for the feminine, for slowing down, for reimagining things. And it doesn't mean that you're not doing anything. It just means that you're showing up differently and you're honoring where you're at. And the shift that happens there is you release this forward pushing pressure of I need to do more. And you bring yourself into a place of it's okay that I'm here right now. Something really, really important is about to shift because I'm giving space to it. And that's going to allow me to show up with so much more productivity, focus, ease, direction, motivation when the flow kicks in again. Working in ebbs and flows is really about this process of surrendering to the greater structures at play, these greater cycles that guide you. And we want to resist them so often. So if you want to dive into this work deeper, like I said, I highly recommend you join me for the Feminine First workshop. It's free. There's an amazing group of women in there already. Or go and check out the Rest for Success course. This is my upcoming course. We're going to be diving into all of this in so much depth and really how to use it as well, because I can only share so much in a quick little 10-minute video here for you. Okay, make sure you leave your comments below, like this video, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.